Beach Church, it's Friday again, and you have no idea how excited I am to be with you today. As you know, I have been in session working since the 1st of January, and I am back in Virginia Beach today, and I am actually in my living room and in comfortable clothes, and I am so excited to be here with you and to jump right back in. And you have no idea what these sessions do on Fridays for me, so I can come and connect and tell you what God is doing in my spiritual life. And with that said, something new for us. If you have testimony or if God has given you a blessing or if you need prayer, please put it in the comments. I look at all of them, or you can message Beach Church or me personally, and we will reach out to you. So today's reading was Deuteronomy 28 through 30. And let me tell you, I am on this journey with you. I am no Bible scholar, as you know. These were a little difficult to read, but this was a powerful section of scripture. And we're seeing the movement here, a legalism of the law to the liberty of the spirit. So I took lots of notes. As you know, I'm old school and I write things down, but I also have notes on my computer I took down. So I'm going to be switching back and forth because, like I said, this was a little harder of a read for me. It might not have been for you. But let's jump right in. We are seeing that Moses is laying out, God is having Moses lay out, I should say, the blessings and curses of being obedient and disobedient of the law. And so Moses is saying, God says that if you are obedient of the law, he's going to make Israel over all others. Israel will be the holy people. And this is like showing God's possession of Israel. But then Moses is saying, but if you are disobedient, it's a curse. And you know, if you're obedient, it's a blessing and you're choosing life. But if you're choosing to be disobedient, and if you are choosing to have the stubborn heart, and if you are choosing to sin willfully and go against God's law, that it's a curse, and the curse is death. And he goes into, you know, this sin will lead into confusion. And one of the things that hit home with me is I know that, and I hope that they're watching now, I know that when I went through a difficult time in my life and sin was very apparent, which we all sin every day, we are not worthy, but when we are not walking every day in the Word, when we are not walking with Christ every day, and you know, we are sinning willfully, things become chaotic. And Moses says here that this sin is going to lead to confusion and family chaos. And that really hit home with me because several years back, I have had that, and there are still lingering things from that. And I want us to think about that. And, you know, I think that some of us, that we could really resonate with that. Because no earthly hurts quite like close family or friends, right? But we also see that he says there's going to be disease and drought and exile. And it's the curse of death. And we're seeing, he's saying if you're seeking idols. But then Moses comes back and prophesies that, God's going to allow this. And then he comes back and says, but God would restore and have compassion. And one of the things that stuck out to me is God will circumcise their hearts. And I didn't really understand what that meant. And so I did a little digging and I did some praying on it. And what I came up with is that statement meant that God would purify and make holy. So those were my notes as I was reading this scripture and trying to comprehend it. So now we're going to go on to my computer notes. So we go into chapter 28, and it's the blessing cycle. And I have it down as the blessing track. When you listen to God and follow his lead, you're on a path where goodness and mercy follows you. It is not about the money. It's about peace in your home, success in your work. And this gives us clarity. You become the head and not the tail. And they talk about that in this scripture. Meaning that you live your circumstances instead of your circumstances leading you. So what I took away from this is when we ignore the warning signs and go on our own way and run into walls, Moses lists curses, which are really just natural consequences of living outside God's protection. So we need to be making sure that we are making the conscious decision to be in his word and to be walking with him. And when we feel like we're straying from that path, God gives us the way forward. He will make that crooked road a straight path. And it might be narrow. He tells us in scripture that it is narrow, but we can do it. So in chapter 29, I labeled this as just don't play church. Moses warns people about the dangerous trap, thinking you're fine because you're part of a group. Just because you go to church on Sunday and you go through the motions doesn't mean anything. Like, you have to put in the work. Most of us work a daily job every day, and we have to put in the work to get productivity. He says, don't be the person who thinks, I'll be fine even if I just do whatever I want. Like, that doesn't work. The lesson is God isn't looking for the religious robot. He wants a real relationship with us. If your heart isn't in it, the rituals don't matter. It's like being in a marriage where you say the right words, but you don't actually care about your spouse or your family. So what I'm saying is, and I've said this before, you have to walk the walk. You have to be disciplined. You have to put in the work. Like during session, every day I carve out time to be in the Word and to pray. And sometimes, I would get a call and say, this subcommittee is meeting in 20 minutes, or at 6:30 in the morning. Well, 7:30 in the morning, I'm sorry. And I had to be there. So I had to make adjustments. So there were some days that I was reading double what I would have normally read, but I had to make the effort. And, some days I didn't get, now I am the type of person where I need to read the scripture. Like, you reading it to me I don't comprehend as well. It's some kind of mechanism with me. But I would put it in my ear pods and I would listen to it when I was walking to session or whatever. And then I would have to go back and reread it, which was double the effort. But it is what I had to do in order, to stay with my schedule and what I feel like I have to give to be disciplined and reading the word and walking with Christ. So in chapter 30, we're seeing here, so chapter 28 and chapter 29 is boom, boom. And then here we come to 30 and we figure out that Moses is telling us it's easier than what you think. This is the most encouraging part. People often think God's will is a mystery, right? How many times have we heard, I can't think of it right now, I'm so sorry. God works in mysterious ways. Or I have to climb the mountain to find the truth. But the reality is, God says the word is very near you. It is in your mouth and in your heart. You don't need a PhD to follow God. I'm glad that Reverend Dr. Brockway has his PhD. But yes, to what you already know is right. Even if you've messed up and you wander away, God is ready to gather you back in the moment and turn you around. Moses prophesies. Let's go back to it. Moses prophesies. God will allow this, but he's going to restore and he will have compassion. So in reading all of this, the life button here, like God is saying through Moses ends with the most famous ultimatum that applies to us today, and it did to the Israelites. You have set before you life or death. Choose life. You have set before you life and death. Choose life. When you have a choice to lose your temper, stay patient. Choose life. When you have a choice to be honest or cut corners, choose to be honest. Choose life. When you have a choice to worry or trust, now this is a hard one. This is a hard one for me. Choose trust. We trust and we have faith in God. We're choosing life. God is basically saying, I am giving you the answers, the key to the test. The answer is me. The answer is God. The answer is Jesus Christ. Choose me and you will truly live. So, I know that this isn't easy. We all go through circumstances every day, little and small. But we have to take those few seconds instead of reacting out of emotion or out of fear. We need to take this time and say, God, I trust in you. And I might not understand, but I'm going to trust in you. And And if you still are feeling anxious and you have that fear, you pick up that Bible, and I promise, start reading, and He will fill you with what you need and the reassurance. Choose life. And it's not easy. This isn't made for us to be easy. But I can tell you this. I'm not saying that there's not going to be any storms, because I go through them every day. But I look at life, and I look at 6 years ago versus now in my life. And 6 years ago was chaos. And I loved God, but I wasn't making the effort every day to be in the Word and to be walking with Him and laying it all at the altar. But today, even when it can be a little frustrating or scary, I know that no matter what, I am walking with God, and I have faith that He is going to pull me through. And you have no idea the blessings that have come from that. So I challenge you this week, no matter how big or small the problem is, give it to God. Choose life. All right, Beach Church, I hope to see you Sunday, and I hope to see you next Friday. And again, if you have testimony or you need a prayer request,